Hello, welcome to Best African Movies. Alright, still on the Royal Driver series. The prince is feeling that the princess wants to overthrow him. Alright, because of what the king said now that if the princess marries first before him, her husband will eventually be the king. So this is really making the prince to be so worried and worked up at the same time. So the princess ex came to see her. The prince is now feeling the prince is now feeling that the princess has finally invited her ex over so that they can do things together. He's feeling that the princess wants to take the kingship away from him, and he started acting somehow towards the princess. Alright, on the other hand, the maidens continued serving their punishment. They fought. That's the prince babe and the king's blood tonic. Wahala in the compound. So they fought, and the king punished them. So they continued serving their punishment. The queen continued trying so that the king will look her way and do the needful. The king has not knocked her for some time, so she has been trying and trying and trying. But the king keeps giving excuse that he's tired, the kingdom this, the kingdom that, and this made the queen to start thinking on what to do, because according to her, she will not remain like that. Alright, she need to satisfy herself. So she started thinking on what to do. Amaka, the palm wine seller, came to look for David in the palace. That's David the driver. She came to look for him in the palace. The gatesman refused her from seeing David at first. But after much pleading and pleading, he went to inform the prince instead of David. The prince told him that anytime Amaka comes around that he should inform him. So the prince was happy when he heard that Amaka is around, thinking that she came to look for him. But when he heard that it's David Amaka came to look for, he was so disappointed and angry. On the other hand, the queen came to David. This David came to David, telling him to drive her somewhere. David is the princess personal driver. Alright, so she came to David, telling David to drive her somewhere. But David said, okay, that he wants to take permission from the princess. You need to see the anger on the queen's face. You need to see the anger on her face towards David. So immediately the prince saw David, because David finally met with Amaka that came to look for him. Immediately the prince saw David talking with Amaka. He was so angry and decided to send David on an errand that he know David will never get that thing around their environment. He just wanted him to go far so he will have that opportunity to speak with Amaka. Alright, so David was like, okay, but this thing you're sending me, we have it here in the palace. For where? The prince told him to go and get it. It's an order. Alright, so he went. Amaka waited and waited and waited. She could not wait any longer, so she had to start going. The prince offered to take her home. You see his plan. Offered to take her home. So when the queen was already angry because she wants David to drive her somewhere, and David is not around. And apart from that, she saw a girl that came to look for David. This made her so angry. Alright, so when David came back, David apologized to her that the prince sent him on an errand. Alright, so on the other hand, the prince now has finally drove Amaka back to her house. That's actually what he wanted. Alright, so when David came back to the queen, took queen out because queen wanted him to take her to her meeting place also. Alright, so on their way to the place, the queen saw his son entering a compound. That's Amaka's compound, and she was just wondering what the prince is doing there. So in process asked David to find out what the prince is doing in Amaka's compound. Alright, so all of this was going on. The king king of the kingdom was busy receiving massage from his blood tonic I wonder why he has refused to touch his wife. Anyway, we'll surely know in this movie, sha. So he was busy or receiving massage from his blood sonic, one of the maidens, while the prince, when he got to Amaka's place, saw Amaka's father. He was busy telling Amaka's father to stop Amaka from seeing David, that he really want them to stop seeing each other. And in process, he even gave the man huge amount of money. Amaka's father was so happy now. He has seen money. So he promised to do what the prince has told him. All right. The queen, on the other hand, when they got home, she was so worried because none of her children has presented their lover to her at least. All right. So this made her to start asking the princess if something is wrong with them. That why have they not presented their lover to her? So the princess said she's still looking for someone befitting, that once she gets that person, she will present the person to the royal house. All right. The queen also, in the process, informed the princess that she wants her driver again, David, to take her somewhere. David, don't hear him. The princess accepted though. So on their way to the place where she wants David to take her to, she told David to park, that she has something important to discuss with him. David did though. David parked the car. Before you know it, Queen started touching David, pleading with him that she need this, she need that. Even told David to take her to a nearby hotel to knock her. Oh, see fear for David, but the king wife. David said, no, I cannot do this to my master, or I cannot. David refused and instead decided to take her back to the palace. All right. So Amaka's father now, Prince have already told him what to do. With that anger, he called Amaka, all right, to find out her relationship with David, what it's all about. So Amaka, with joy in her heart, was just explaining to her father that David is just her friend, though in fact her very good friend, that David is the only male friend she has in this community. All right. The father inquired if David has gotten to her, Jerusalem. Amaka said no, that they are just good friends. So in the process, her father instructed her to stay away from David for some time, and this will really make her know if David is a good friend, like she said. All right, so that's the end of this series. Subscribe to this channel to get the latest gist about this movie. Thank you very much for watching.